Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Imran and I am back. How you doing? It's Tuesday. It's been a bit of a busy few days. Not only due to videos and stuff that are recording edited, but client work. Got I've got a load of emails I still haven't answered that have come through today. I'm way behind. And then I had a consultation call with someone literally 11 to 12, and that just ended overran a bit. Potential work and stuff. Uh, the cost I quoted is way over their budget, but I says, look, why don't we think about X, Y, Z? But they come back, they come back. Hey, friendly girl, how you doing? Ooh, let me just get the microphone in. Hope you're okay. So even though I don't mind one-to-one consultations, obviously, because we get paid for them, but it don't half knock out what you plan for the day, right? So if I've planned to do something from say 10:30 to 12:30, and then I have a consultation call and I go, oh, let's just get it done at 1, it knocks out my time and everything. Hey Maddie, how you doing? So now I'm basically playing catch up. I've got like 3 important emails I've got to sort out. I've got backlog. I've just got backlog of things now. And because I scheduled in the live chat, hey Tuts, how you doing? Not Tuts, Paul, sorry. In fact, I've just realized my camera's a bit bent. Hold on. Yeah, there, the camera's better now. Do you know what, Paul? I always have this thing about shall I put the electrics on or not? And then I tend to leave them off. Hey, George, how are you doing? Good you have you here, my friend. Hey, Nitin. Hey, Pez. Yeah, so a lot of today has just gone out the window. So I've got 3 really important client emails I've got to sort. Well, 3 important stuff to sort emails I've got to respond to. One client who's got a bit of a problem with their website, which I think is more caused by something someone has done. Hey, Jake the dog. Hey, George. Hey, Dave Den. By the way, if anyone wants to join the live chat, you can jump on. However, hey, Jocelyn. Hey, Paul as well. If you come on, you got to join in with the conversations and everything like that. Otherwise, you get kicked out. I'm a bit brutal at the moment. I have been a little bit brutal lately with the Web Squadron Facebook group. Some people have said to me, why are you deleting some posts? Look, if there is a post on there that says, what's better, Elemental Bricks or Breakdance? It's not about what you think is right. The trouble is, though, it opens up the arena for what I often think can be dangerous comments that start filtering in. And you could easily have everybody say, we love breakdance. And then that irritates the bricks or the elemental crowd or the other way around. And then there's like, well, what about Gutenberg? What about Wix? What about Square? There's so many different tools. I always feel like, there's other places you can go if you want to have like a fight or an argument or whatever about what's the best page builder. And I always feel like it's so subjective, right? It's like someone saying, what's the best trainer? And someone goes, Nike. And someone goes, no, Adidas. No, what's wrong with Reebok? And then someone else comes out with Lonsdale. And you go, Skechers or whatever. So it starts to become like hey, Minoa.
Hello.
I've got your name right. Minoa, isn't it? Minoa?
Manoa with an A instead of the I.
Finally cracked it. So I always feel like, any questions about what's the best page builder is, for me, those kind of questions are slightly loaded with ammunition because you're literally almost looking for a reaction, right? It's like someone saying, right, should men be extinct? And the minute you do that, you're gonna have loads of people jump on and go, no, that's not right. And then you'll have loads of people go, yeah, we hate men. Get rid of all men. It's a loaded question, which is why I don't like them on our group. Jocelyn says, my main question is Elementor hosting worth it? Right. Here's my view of it. I think that for cloud hosting, and I have tested it, and I have to say they have improved it a lot since last year. Cloud hosting with Elemental Pro, all of that, it works out when you work out the mathematics of it. And remember, you're getting the whole Elemental Pro, you know, don't forget the price change in December the 4th. You're getting all of that within your Elemental hosting. Whoa! I just noticed Paul sneak in there. Ooh. But, when you think about all of that, it's not bad. However, there are a few flaws with Elemental hosting. Like file manager, you're gonna have to go and install a plugin if you wanna do that. Emails, you're gonna have to go to a third party and then connect all of that and go through the whole rigmarole of the MX text record. I hate all of that hassle. Um, so I think if you just want peace of mind and you wanna go, "Right, I just want my hosting and my Elemental Pro all in one place, boom, boom, boom," you could go for it. You could do it. If you are prepared to take the time and go, "Well, I'm going to get my hosting from, say, SiteGround or wherever, and then I'm going to connect it and do everything." Then I feel like there's pros and there are cons. Paul, have you got any view on
I
Elemental?
don't. What was the question again? I was trying to get things working.
No, don't worry, mate. So the question was, is Elemental hosting worth it? And I'm saying that for a quick, just, you want to get the license, which will become $99, don't forget, from December the 4th.
True.
Plus your hosting, I think it comes to $180, I think, if I'm right, per year. It
Okay.
kind of pays for itself, but
Yeah, I think I'm probably the same as you on this one. I like to have control over the various elements of my website. So I like to have my hosting as its own dedicated thing and whatever platform I want to use. Because then if you kind of decide you want to change platforms, it's not just changing the platform, it's changing the platform, the hosting, and everything that goes with it. So I think there's a lot to consider before you opt for any of those options, not specifically Elementor. The same thing goes if you're working with Brizy. If you want to work with Brizy Cloud, while you're still working with the WordPress type editor, even though it's not WordPress, you are still tied into one platform for everything. And I think you just got to be a little bit careful and give a bit of sort of forward thought to what if you change your requirements in X amount of time. You want to bring something on there and you can't do it on that particular platform. You just need to be mindful of that before you just jump in, both feet first.
exactly that. And what Dave says about the SSH, yes, you can do that. But again, this is one of those things where I feel like you have to know how to do it. And I'll tell you what, the very first time I had to go and do that, the very first time years and years ago, boy, was I like, what do I do? Where do I go? Oh, I've got to install, I can't remember what the stuff is. You got to install all this bit of extra like programs on your machine and create a key and go here and go there. It's very, very complex. But Jocelyn, I would say, yeah, if you're okay with Elemental, and I have tested it, I'm not just saying this, I did look at Elemental hosting. Now, the page speed performance and everything you get with their hosting is still really, really good. Like, it's really good now. You are still going to need an optimization plugin with Elemental. You cannot get away from that. But just going back to what Paul said, what if you do want to change your hosting and you went and bought your domain via the Elemental hosting? I don't know. I don't know anyone who's gone through that yet where they now decide, right, I want to transition elsewhere. And something that Jamie has been saying quite a lot, and he's very true about this, okay, is that if you build with Gutenberg and then you suddenly want to change what you want to do, you don't really have to worry about your page builder. Whereas if you build a website in bricks and you want to go to breakdance, well, you got to rebuild. You want to go from breakdance to elemental, rebuild elemental to bricks. You got to go through the pain. Whereas I don't really use Gutenberg, but it's very true that if you build on Gutenberg, unless you've gone and used Spectra or something else,
Yeah.
you're almost kind of future-proofed a little bit in a way with
To
how
a
things
certain
might pan
extent,
out.
yeah. I think to a certain extent you probably are. There's always going to be limitations no matter what you use. Gutenberg
Yeah.
is getting better, but I think you're still pretty limited on what you can achieve with it. So you're going to look at something like you say, like generate blocks, or you're going to look at something like cadence blocks or something like
Mm.
that. And while you're not going to have the same amount or same level of problems you would have had years ago with all those short codes and all that junk being included in it, you do still have to kind of consider, what are you going to have to do? What sort of process you're going to have to go through to get everything working if you decide to change to something else. But I think it would probably be easier, like Jamie's been saying, to do it via Gutenberg, especially if you're
Yeah.
just sticking with the native Gutenberg. And
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, no, it's not up to the same level as something like Bricks and Elementor Pro and all those kinds of tools. But not everybody needs that level. And this is the thing that kind of always amazes me when you listen to people talking, or commenting and things. They go like, but this only has this many functions and it doesn't have all this. And yeah, and if you need those functions that are not included, that problem, that isn't the product for you. But not everybody needs that. It's like Word. I mean, everyone used to go like,
Oh my God, yeah.
Word. It's got a million different functions. How
Mail
many people
merge. Who
probably met
uses
one?
mail merge?
Yeah, you probably use 1% of what it offers, but you'll spend 3 times as much
Do
because
you
you
know?
think I'm getting better value or a better product, and it's not always the case.
Do you know what? It's a bit like with Elementor and Elementor Pro. What Elementor Pro features am I really using? Well, the form, the header footer template, and that's about it, most of the time with some clients with basic websites. Now, Pez has said how many are offering a Black Friday special. I'm not, but I know Paul is, so this is going to be for Paul. Go on, reel off. Tell us about your Figma. Actually, I shouldn't say. You go for it. You go for it. Sorry.
Oh, damn, I didn't come to a sales pitch. Easiest thing to do is I'm offering a 50% discount on my Essential Web Designers Documents Pack. So that's down to $19.99, and taxes, whatever they're applicable in your country. And my my Figma to Bricks course is 40% off at the moment. And a quick sort of update with that, I am going to be releasing the Figma to Elementor module of that, or modules, and that will also be on a special launch offer of 40% off. So that'll be, or around 40% off. It might be like $99, but that's about 3 hours of training showing you how to use Figma to design an entire landing page, all the different functions in this, some bonus lessons on how to go beyond what's included there. And also, it'll show you then how to completely build every aspect of that using the container functions inside Elementor. So you won't be using any of the sections and things. It was built, even though it was like 8 months ago, I think I released it.
Yeah.
It's built with containers because I wanted to make sure it was forward sort of planning with it and not go through the whole old process of working. So that will be available hopefully by the end of this week. And like I said, there'll be a launch offer, which will probably be 99 instead of 147 or something like that. I haven't kind of figured it out 100% yet. But if you want to learn how to use those, that's a good sort of starting point.
I'll tell you what, slightly off topic is a company from India has approached me to just do some little bit of extra work for them. And normally whenever you work with someone from wherever they are in the world, they just bank transfer your payments, whatever. They've literally said that if I want to work with them, even though they've approached me, I have to go and get one of those like tax certificates to prove my residency to make sure I don't get double taxed. And I'm like, I've lost interest, so I'm like, oh, I better contact my accountant. But have you ever had to go through that situation where you've had to go and provide a certificate of tax, something like residency, because you're working with someone outside of the UK or anywhere?
Yeah, I've actually had to do it last week to
Oh,
work
wow.
with I say Cloudways, DigitalOcean. Even though I've worked
Yeah.
with them for a while, because they've been bought out by DigitalOcean, they've changed a few bits and pieces. I've had to fill it. It's the EBN8E or something like that, whatever it is. And to be honest, it's one of those things that once you've done it, there's literally, you put your name, your address, your country of residence, because you probably don't have a tax ID if you're an individual. You just put your national insurance number, and that's basically it, and you sign it. It's 2 minutes. Here comes trouble.
Yeah,
This was too good an opportunity to miss.
I know. I think loads of people are fully aware right now of just some of the amazing snippets that Mark has been like pulling together. So yeah, big thanks to Mark. Oh, and there's some more to come out. There's some more cooking in the background. We're always experimenting. We're always trying to find how can we do X, Y, Z. So there's always stuff cooking away. But how are you, Mark?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, I'm all right. Just quickly, Video Boy, P Cloud, Black Friday, they always do an offer.
They do.
Oh, P Cloud, yeah. I mean, I can't remember. I don't know what their offer is, but yeah, I'm sure like, you know, if you go over to their website, you'll go and find something. I must say though, this year, the offers coming out with some of the companies are pretty damn amazing. They always seem to do, but I really feel like some of them are really pushing the boat out. And especially the Croco Block one, I must say, 40% off the lifetime, which I believe, from what I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, they've never ever offered before. You know, so I think for anyone out there who's been like, oh, you know, I really want to use a bit of jet engine or whatever, 40% for a lifetime is a bit of a steal, you know, when you look at the value of what you get there. So I would definitely consider doing that. So John Cyanidis, I'm never sure if I get your surname right. I say Cyanidis. I almost make it sound like something out of the 300 movie. It sounds very, I don't know, almost Greek. I'm not sure. Here is an idea for a snippet. Add a counter button to a single post template.
Didn't you just do that, Imran?
Well, there was a counter. You did a counter snippet. Was it a counter button? Was it? Did it automatically counter though?
No, weren't you asking about this yourself the other day?
I can't remember. Mark, you must know by now, right? What I ask for changes every half hour, and I don't remember what I'm doing half the time. If it weren't for Notion telling me what I need to get done today,
Yeah,
I'd be a lot.
and a wife.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm all over. I'm all over the. All it takes is one thing. Like I had a phone call, I missed a call, and now I need to find out who was that call from. Until I discover who that call was, my life is ruined as far as I'm concerned. I can't calm down. I got a question for Paul though, because I really love this extra background he's done for the live chats. But I have noticed you're using this more now, even for your standard chats, your standard videos. So is it that? Because obviously this is on the left side of your room, right?
Right.
So the original wall is right now to your. Let me get this right. Is to your right. So right now,
Other way around.
is it the other way around? Right.
Other way
Yeah.
around.
Right. Yeah. So if you point to your left, no, I've got to get this right. No, yes, the original wall is up there, over there somewhere. What do you prefer? I actually do like this. Like it has that kind of quite a nice feeling to it as well. What, are you finding a preference to this layout?
Yeah, I mean, there's no real sort of rhyme or reason behind why I use this more, other than the fact I can't be bothered to move everything back around that way. You know,
I
it's
was
like
about to ask, is that because I was going to ask, have you actually literally picked up the table, or is it?
it's all
Was
on
it on a
wheels. It's a sit
turntable?
stand. Yeah, it's a sit stand desk. Because literally, when I built the studio, or when I had the studio built, I made sure that it was built in such a way that if I wanted to have this wall or the wall that you originally saw, or even a sort of third one on the opposite side right now, all I've got to do is turn the desk around, wheel the camera around, which is also on wheels, and
Oh
adjust the
God, yeah.
lighting accordingly. And that's it. That's why you can't see it on here, but up above on all the walls, except for the one with the door, there's actually sockets and USB sockets that
I
are up
remember
on
you
there.
saying, yeah.
So you can run light poles across the top if you want to, and you've got everything is like up off the floor. So there was a lot of intention in how this was built originally. But yeah, I do quite like this look and layout. It's a little bit warmer.
Okay, so just got a quick question here. Would we recommend using the 7B fit? No, I'm actually
No.
going to say no to all of them.
No,
Um,
they're well. I mean, the 7. Sorry to interrupt there, man.
Yeah,
The
go
7,
for it.
I've used that with clients in the past. The B theme, I bought that and tried that.
Yeah,
They are incredibly bloated themes. They
yeah,
just shove everything, including the kitchen sink and the bin and the dog, all
yeah.
inside there, and it's just overkill for what you ever need.
I'll tell you what I find funny though about the Flatsome theme is that yes, it might sound flat, but it's what's underneath the flat. So it's literally like you go to a road and it's lovely and flat, and you go, "Oh, this is perfect." And underneath it is like all the sewerage and the pipes and everything just bloating up. So it's like, but completely agree. I mean, I always say that if you don't want to put in the work and you just want a straight off the bat, I'm just going to shove in my logo and my words and images, these themes could help you out. But if you're prepared to get dirty with building or use your finger, or you put your feet, or you put. I'll come back to you, and I would say don't bother with these. Just go and build out. Go on, Paul. What are you gonna say?
I would take a different tack, even with those kinds of themes. The amount of money you spend on one of those themes,
Oh yeah,
I would personally go and invest in something like one of the libraries like Skelementor, which is free. But
yeah,
Skelementor, you've got different ones. There's several ones for bricks. I would invest in something like that, and then you are not tied into working with that theme and that lifespan of that theme. You can work with whatever your builder or design tool of choice is, and use those then, and you can build things up in a nice simple wireframe very quickly and easily, and it'll give you probably more flexibility than one of those will anyway,
absolutely.
because you're tied into, like, I think the B theme, with that they've got their own builder, which you don't have to use, but it's kind of like intended to be work with it. So you're kind of limiting yourself to the theme and the builder that they provide. And if you don't like those, or you want to move on from those, I can imagine the whole process is a lot more complex than using something like, a sort of like a framework, for example.
Yeah.
If you want to work with something like ACSS and frames, if you're working with bricks, or those kinds of tools, I think they're just better. Oh, come on, I had to drop it in there because I want to see the reaction.
A tired one from me.
I tried to be reserved. I tried to hold. I just held it back. I just went. I'm just gonna hold it.
Other frameworks do exist.
Yeah, no.
Do they? Do they
Yeah.
really? I've never
Core
heard of any of
frameworks,
it.
actually, core frameworks worth a look.
I've got a question for Mark. I've never asked you this actually. I don't think I have. But what camera are you using? I've never asked you this.
It was about 15 quid off Amazon.
So what are you using then?
It's just a little webcam that's plugged into the USB.
Because I must say though, your resolution's not bad.
It's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of like 4K cameras or 1080p's or whatever, and like, there's all. Yeah, I mean, no, you don't need to be that close. Oh, by the way,
what it says on it.
Mark did shave a couple of days ago. By the way, so now he's got his stubble growing back at an alarming rate, but he did shave.
Yeah, those pictures.
First time he's had a wash in years. Bless him.
Well, to answer the Chillster, the B theme support was terribly unfriendly. Now, if I'm not mistaken, some of the people behind B theme, I had a bit of a, should we say, a discussion with someone that was involved in marketing and promoting the B theme. And some of the people behind the B theme were involved in, or they got into my Facebook group and I think some other Facebook groups. And I didn't like the way in which they were trying to promote their product when people were asking other questions.
Yeah.
So they basically all got booted out. But that left a sort of sour taste in my mouth. If that's the kind of company, I really wouldn't want to be involved with them in any way. Because they were offering me a lot of money to create content for them. And I said no.
Yeah, no, it's something about integrity. Oh, hey Pickstar, great to have you here. Now, CoffeeBot asked a question about, are you guys leaning more towards Elementor or bricks? I like both. I like both, but I do find that because a lot of the clients I work with tend to not want to have a monthly maintenance plan, or I'm doing a makeover and they're going to look after the website themselves. I have found that there's a higher chance that I can teach them and they can just go away and run with the website if I go with Elementor. With bricks, if they were prepared to go on a monthly plan, or they know that if you break it and you come back, there's going to be a cost attached to that, then I might go with bricks. But also at the same time, it very much depends on what I'm going to build, because, no disrespect to any builder or anything, but Elementor is a bit more quick and easy. Bricks one, I feel like you got to think a little bit more, but there's more you can do with it. The stuff you can do there that you can't really do with Elementor unless you go and do extra plugins or extra code snippets or loads of extra stuff. So I feel like it very much comes down to how quick do you need to get it done, maybe? What's the budget like? I mean, look, let's be honest here, right? If I know my client's got like a $10,000 budget and they're happy for me to take a bit of time to build or whatever, and they want it a certain way, I'm probably going to go bricks. If, however, they have a bit more of a smaller budget or whatever, I might lean towards Elementor. But I feel like it's a really difficult one, because you could easily say, why don't you just do Gutenberg? Why are you even using Elementor or bricks or anything like that? So I'll open it out to anyone here who wants to chip in.
I think there's lots of good reasons why you'd use something like Bricks over a tool like Elementor. Like you say, it does depend on the project. It does depend on the end user. But I think if you want to create something, especially when it comes to more intermediate level dynamic content, you want to start using repeater regions and those kinds
Yeah.
of things. Well, that's when you start to look at third-party plugins, and then it all becomes that sort of same thing of, we know that there's this issue from time to time with updates where Elementor releases an update and it doesn't necessarily play that well with what could potentially be a core plugin. It could be a
Yeah.
security update that you have to run out. There could be a lot of different reasons, and that always adds a certain level of stress. And I think the more complex the site becomes, especially when you want something that, when you're creating multiple templates, I'm not talking like, a handful of 4 or 5. I'm talking like, they say you've got like 50, 60 templates. You need to have, sort of global classes. You need to have the ability to rapidly change something throughout your entire site, which you currently can't do very easily with Elementor.
Yeah.
I think there are benefits and weaknesses with both, but you have to look at what's the project require. And like you say, if the budget and the project needs something more complex and more robust in certain ways, where you don't really need additional plugins to do what I would still consider to be very fundamental things, this is where Bricks excels. And I just think there's a lot to be said for that. And on the flip side of it, there are a lot of really good, we'll say Gutenberg type plugins or builders and things like that, block plugins and things that are doing an awful lot. Look at Quickly, not the easiest thing to get started with, but that is so advanced and so quickly with their query builder and their global classes and their CSS grid and all the kind of thing that's integrated into it. Louis doing a really good job of creating something that isn't intended to be a beginner's tool, but it's something that if you want to build around that type of platform and you want to keep it relatively lean, that's a really solid tool to get working with. GreenShift is another one that's got a lot of people that really like what it can do with their sort of dynamic capabilities. With it's a pro version, you've got the pro plugin kind of thing. But I think, the problem I always kind of get is where people go like, they only know one tool and every job has to fit into that tool. And I think you're doing your client a disservice when that's the way you work. You could shoehorn a really simple site into something that's way too complicated, and the same applies on the flip side.
Yeah, I think it is important to know that the strengths and weaknesses of each tool, and how sometimes you have to kind of like shift your focus into working with something else. You can't always work with the same one thing. But yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I was speaking to a client earlier, a potential client, and I'd love to know how you react to this scenario. So they approach me and they go, right, yeah, we want you to build our website, blah 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 blah, and they want 30 pages done, and I tell them the price per page, and they then say, like, but can't you do it for 10% of what you've said? So let's just say I've said it's going to cost you $10,000 to build out your entire website, 30 pages. It was way more. By the way, it was actually 28,000 because I said, here's the charge per page. Here's 30 pages. Every page was different. You couldn't just use like a template and just shove the words in. Everything was very, very different. They wanted to pay something like 2,000. What do you do in that scenario? Because I'm just like, I'm sorry, that's the cost. So either we do a phased budget. So if you want it for 2,000, fine, I'll do you one page and a bit of another page, and then you come back when we want more. But I've got a feeling you guys don't compromise, because I don't like, because I feel like when you compromise once, they will always make you compromise every time you give them a price. They'll expect you to come down or haggle.
For me, the way I would handle something like that is, first of all, if there's that much of a disparity between how much they want to pay and how much it would cost, then I would walk away. Simple as that. But if there's less disparity in there, let's say, for example, they've got a budget of 10 grand and you're coming in at 20 grand, there's still a big difference there. But I think, the way I would look at it is, if you can't afford the full package, what can we take out that you might not need right now?
Exactly that.
And then we can do a phased rollout when you kind of you start to make money from it. If it's e-commerce, for example,
exactly.
when you got some more money, then we'll take a look at it. We'll create phases. And I work with clients like that, so they never feel like it's a case of you don't get it because you can't afford it right now. But you'll find, what I've found anyway, is probably 80% of the time they will find that extra budget once they realize that they
What they're
really
getting.
want those extra features. You know,
Yeah, mostly I agree. I mean, there is this one problem where they've had half a dozen other quotes and somebody else has said, oh, we can do it for $3,000. So they're never going to, if somebody else is saying $3,000, it doesn't matter at that stage if the other person is a complete and utter muppet. They've said they can do it for $3,000. They've got no reason to doubt them. So you're going to come across, if you say, oh, but they're not, you just look like you're putting somebody else down. So you've got to be really careful in that situation. I totally agree about what would you like to take out of the project to get
Yeah.
it closer to your budget. That's always a more
That always works. That always does work. I mean, it was
passively, positively agree. I don't know how you'd describe it, but what corners do you want to cut is what you're saying, isn't it?
well, it was funny because like what they said was so here's the current website, and it was built by someone on Fiverr. And basically what their developer had done is, because I said, can you just show me, log in and show me on screen? And basically their developer had loaded up Cadence, and the entire homepage is just a Cadence plugin. And all they've done is swap the logo and the text and images out. And that's literally it. It is a full blown. And I was like, in the nicest way possible. It's like, I'm not Fiverr, and you all, and I didn't want to come across as angry, but there was a little bit inside of me that felt a bit like, are you really comparing what me and what I might do for you to a $20 Fiverr developer kind of thing? You know,
the
it's
problem is not everybody knows better, and that's
That
the
is
thing
true.
to consider. Is that to people that are not savvy when it comes to websites, a website is a website is a website. They don't understand what's the difference between a good web designer charging £3,000, like Mark says, and someone else charging £10,000. Well, the reality is what goes on behind the scenes. It's the building with better practices, is making sure that it's updatable, using solid products and tools. You're not just shoving everything in there because it's cheap, quick, and easy. But it's a good sort of comment here by Jake Hope. And I kind of agree with him. It's one thing I don't do, which is giving an hourly rate. I agree. I think the only time that I would use an hourly rate, or the only time I ever have used an hourly rate, was this is the cost for the project. That's it. That's the cost of the project. If I do it quicker, happy days for me. If it takes me longer, well, that's my problem. But then if they want additional things, then I might put a price in there that'll be a per item price, for example. That means then they say, right, okay, this starts off, this deal is 10 pages and you get X, Y, and Z pages in there. And then they come back afterwards, they go, we need another 5 pages. It was okay, the cost per page would be 50 quid, for example. So that's going to cost you another 250 quid for 5 pages.
Yeah.
So they know. But I think it's very difficult to kind of go down the route of being an hourly rate, because then you have to justify what you've done per day.
Yeah, I mean, I would charge, if somebody says to me, oh, I've got half a dozen products to put onto my WooCommerce site, Mark, can you do it? Yeah, I'll just charge you an hourly rate and get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I'll look at everything and go, how am I going to charge for this? It'll always cross my mind.
But chances are your hourly rate, you use that as the basis for giving them that flat fee. You'll go, okay, it'll take me 2 hours to do it. I charge you 60 quid an hour, 120 quid, and it'll be done. So you might not tell the client what it would cost them per hour, but you've got your hourly rate that you work for. And then you know from experience how long you think it would probably take to do that. So you kind of, you work that way. So you might not tell them an hourly rate, but fundamentally you're using that as your calculation formula in your head before you actually tell them the price.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I use hourly rates is if it's like a booked 1 hour consultation, or if it's like something really small, I go, yeah, that will get done, but because it'll take an hour, that's all I'm going to do. But very much I price per project. Now, something Pixar has said here, which I think is the flavor of the month at the moment, with some of the code snippet stuff that Mark's helping to create, the videos I'm putting out, and even some of the stuff that Paul's done as well recently with snippet videos. I think that right now we are, and I've said this in a video I did the other day, we're at an exciting, amazing time where with AI, we can start to generate snippets. There's going to be a heap of testing. Let me tell you now, please don't think that when we put a snippet out, it was like, yay. There's loads of testing. There's loads of back and forth. There's loads of saying, ChatGPT, you are crap. Sort this out. Redo it.
There's even Paul putting his aura in as well on one of them. I sort of showed him a screenshot, and he was like, "I'd be really good if it could do." Oh,
Well, now
oh,
I've got
Here
a
we go.
test for you then, Mark. I've got a little test for you, or a little challenge for you. I want you to create a code snippet or a snippet that'll scrape the interwebs and find every website that uses that woman in the red dress.
Oh
And then you come back with a list
no!
of URLs.
Someone gave me the name. Can I tell you now? Someone gave me the name. I need to dig it out, and I have for the last 6 or 7 months. It was roughly sometime springtime. Been trying to find her because I want to interview her. I'm telling you, anyone who can get her on an interview is going to be
interview. Is that
killing
what
it
you're
on
calling
YouTube.
it?
And the first thing I will say to her is, how do you manage your time given the fact that you're a team member of a million teams out there? Your face is everywhere. But I think like she's got to be the most famous. Like she's got to be like the most face ever. I think in history, deep down. And yeah, but I'm trying to find it. If anyone knows her, please get in touch. I'd love to interview her. I even tell her you got to wear a red top. All right, you cannot come on camera in a yellow top or anything like that.
That's how she's incognita. She does the Superman thing. She just changes the color of her top, and no one recognizes her.
Put some glasses on.
I mean, Andrew's got a good question. Sorry, I'm just hijacking your.
Yeah,
your
no, go for it.
writing there. I think it depends. I mean, as I'm sure Imran would probably say that you would rather them be on a maintenance plan, and part of that maintenance plan may be that you give them content updates. But otherwise, I think we probably agree that Mark's way of doing it is you go, okay, that would take me X amount of time. My hourly rate is Y. You know, X times Y. There's your sort of like how much it would cost you to do that particular piece of work.
I think including content changes and updates and bits like that in a maintenance project can also give you problems because they might, then if it goes over what you've kind of allocated, you've got to keep having that awkward conversation. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can do that, but it's actually a little bit more that's included in your maintenance plan, so it's going to cost you extra.
I used to do two maintenance plans. I used to do a technical maintenance plan and a content maintenance plan. And the content maintenance plan, which is easy for you to say, I used to sort of say, right, you buy it in blocks. Like there's a block of 12 hours and a block of 6 hours. And then you have that for 12 months. If you don't use it, it's gone. There's no rollover. But I would just keep track of how long things would take me, and they would just send me content over, would make the updates, make a note of it, which they could see the spreadsheet if they wanted as well, which would say what was done, the date it was done. And it wasn't really much in the way of, sort of time consuming to do that kind of thing and keep track of it. But I kind of found separating the two was a little easier.
Yeah, I do think that, Andrew, you're entering slightly dangerous territory because I've been here before. Because what I feel you've got right now is a bit of an open door. And this can happen with when you're actually working on a project and then the client there's scope creep. Oh, and what about this? And what about that? And you just keep going, oh, I'll do it. Oh, yeah, I'll do it for you. And the time goes on. And you're not making any more extra income and your time's not covered. So where you're saying they want to be invoiced when they have decided, that is so open-ended, right? That's just like when, tomorrow, next week, whenever. Yeah. And I would draw them in. And I feel like you're going to enter a very difficult conversation soon, where you kind of go, right, we need to be paid. I need to be paid now. I've done a week's worth of work for you. I know we're not finished yet. And it reminds me of when it's a bit like when you do web design projects, right? 50% up front, 50 at the end. Or a video I've got coming out next week where I've employed an architect to do some plans for me. And the way they've done their pricing package or their payments made me go, I think we're missing a trick here with how we do things. But I do feel like, if without getting regular payment, when are you going to say to the client, right, I've done 4 or 5 days work for you. I need to be paid for that, because I sense that the fact the client is saying, I'll tell you when it's finished. I feel like there's a tricky scenario brewing here. And I could be wrong. They might be a lovely, wonderful person. But because you put he in capitals, I feel like I'm detecting that there could be an issue later on.
Well, you can see Andrew sort of commenting saying his contract allows for 1 hour per month, but his updates are almost a site rebuild.
Oh my God.
I would definitely say you need to split that maintenance contract into 2 different areas,
Yeah.
and you have, sort of content updates do not include design updates, and vice versa. I think you're asking for some real problems there. Well, funny enough, Michael, I've got a video coming out tomorrow on how to customize the WordPress dashboard, but we'll say no more.
Without a plugin.
Is that with a
Oh, no, it's
snippet?
not a bloody plug-in.
Ooh.
There's-
Okay, right.
there's-
Let everybody look out tomorrow.
There's a combination of the way I show you is how to use it with bricks, but the technique is exactly the same whether you want to use it with Elementor. But at the end of the video, I also give you some options. If you want free, you can have one that's a free option, and also one that's a different option that allows you to work with Gutenberg templates. But the nice thing is, it allows you to, the way I show you is it allows you to use dynamic content and the loops and things like that. So you can create, for example, a custom post type for your help documentation, and then you can have that integrated directly into the dashboard's homepage. And then if they want access to it, they can just go and take a look at it and see exactly what's going on. But if you set that up as a sort of a starter site, then you could easily roll that out with all of the help documentation in place. And it's all done through custom post types, which makes it super easy to add more content to an update without even touching that template file.
I know that Mary Jane won't like it, but I will definitely be watching Paul's videos tomorrow and add it to my watch list. I tell you what, I kid you not, right? Every morning, 7 a.m., for the last 3 weeks, I've done this religiously. Treadmill's on. I do like a 45-minute jog, and I'll have my watch later videos on. And yeah, it's the best time to listen to Paul while I'm sweating it out. Yeah,
I find just before bedtime when I can't sleep.
I don't know I don't want to know, Mark. I don't want to know.
Love you really, Paul.
Oh dear, 4K high def, right? Smith, I can't
Actually, no. To be fair, there was somebody I was listening to. Yeah, no, I remember who it was. It wasn't you, Paul. Don't worry. There was somebody who really did put me to sleep. It wasn't you, though.
You can private message me that one if you want, just so I can know what we're talking about.
Just so we can go and have a look.
Smith, no, you know him, man, but you'd have forgotten.
But Smith, I can't answer this properly just because I've spoken to people who were working on sites. But if you got an RSS feed or there's plugins, I think it's called FIFU, FIFU, that can feed through into your post. There's various methods, but trust me, they're not all going to be exactly what you want. And remember, when you do like an RSS feed or something like that, if you've got a single post template and, depending on how you've got it set up, is it going to put the image as the featured image? Will it feed through? So I can't give you a really good answer for that, but I would say go to Google, have a look for RSS plugin feeds. Unless anyone else here's got a better answer for that.
I haven't looked at anything to do with RSS since 2006 or something.
I know.
Like that.
I find it very, you get the feed, but then the format might not be right. So it's like even the formatting of the text, and you go, what? It's a single post template. What's going on here? But it's just, you lose all control, you see.
Yeah.
And if you've got an automatic feed and they automatically post, what if you don't want that particular post on your website?
True. Very true. The only time I use an RSS feed, and I don't use it anymore, is I used to pass it over to MailerLite. And you sort of had a little plugin that would sort of pass over the featured image. So then it would sort of send out a weekly email of content pulled from the site. So it's scraped from the site. That's the only real use I've had for working with RSS feeds.
Right, I'm gonna go completely off topic here. Let me tell you right now how my process works. Okay, so 7 to 7:45, I do an 8-kilometer run. Then I drop my son off at school, so I get in about another 1.5 kilometers. Then I have in my diary I will work from 9 to 10:30. 10:30 to about 11:30, I'm back on the treadmill because I'm only doing about 6 kilometers per hour at a very steady walking rate. So I'm literally like that, but I'm not running. I have my keyboard up here and I can still work. You can still design websites. You can still answer emails. There's a lot of shit you can do while walking quite fast. And then after the live chat, I'll be back on again for another hour. So I'm averaging about 22 kilometers a day.
Can we safely say
good.
that your spirit animal is a hamster?
Do you know what? The amount I wee, yeah, I probably am.
Guys, I'm going to have to go. I'm getting pestered to do some work.
I was going to
believe.
kick you out anyway, but yeah, see you, Mark.
That's good. Good. That's nice to finally be on a chat with Paul.
I mean, this is
Wow.
like, I think this is
say?
Mark. I think this is all Mark has aimed. I mean, he's going to tick this off his list now for
Bucket list.
2023.
No, it's
Yes,
not.
that's
It's
it.
2023. Oh, bucket list.
Yeah, that's it. He's achieved.
Paul
All right,
properly.
take care, Mark. Speak
Yeah,
soon.
take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Just
Thank God we got rid of him.
I have to say though, it's been quite fun. So behind the scenes, Mark and me have been batting off one another with what about this snippet, and there's been a lot of testing. So I might do one or he won't do one, and then we pick faults and we go, yeah, but think about this. And Artif's been getting involved as well, and obviously Artif and me quite a bit are involved with code snippets. I do videos for them and stuff, but being able to use a snippet like what you did the other week with regards to dynamic fields, being able to do stuff without relying on extra plugins, it feels so good, doesn't it? Especially when you know you can, you know what, we've got to deactivate it or whatever. Whereas you take look, there are some plugins out there. Okay, yeah, Dynamic OO is brilliant. It's a really good plugin, but so many people use it just to show repeater fields inside Elementor. And I've got a snippet video for that, and I might redo it again this week. So you don't need to pay $50 for one little thing. And we're not here to shut down any businesses or anything, but I feel like if we can help you out with snippets or something, just to help your website out and one less plugin, I love it. It just makes me really happy.
Well, funny enough, the video for the customized dashboard, there's a little custom code snippet in there. It's all done through ChatGPT, and it's a really simple one. It's just like, there's one thing that really bugs the living daylights out of me is when you close all those panels down on the dashboard homepage, you still got those stupid little drag drop boxes on there. The little
Yeah.
gray. I want to get rid of them. And all it is a simple little code snippet to call a function up that'll hide it via CSS, because obviously it's a pain in the ass to kind of do that via the dashboard of WordPress.
Do you know
just
what?
little things.
I've been working on a snippet for about 2 weeks and I just can't get it right. But I keep going back to it whenever I feel really bored. It's almost like, can you create almost like a task list within your WordPress dashboard? So when you log in, all you have is a task list. So you can add tasks, rearrange, tick them off. So if you've got a client who's also got admin access, because quite a few of them do, if they ever go in, they can literally see.
Yeah.
It might be you even say, right, payment, is due or payment is made. Every time I think I've got it, I then end up breaking my website. So I go, right, forget this is too. And also it's a lot of solutions that sometimes then, ChatGPT basically then says you now have to create a plugin maybe. And I'm like, no, we don't want a plugin. I just want a snippet. Just give me a snippet. That's all I want. But yeah, it's a great, exciting time. And Mark, I have warned Mark because I've lost count. I don't know about you, but I've lost countless hours just playing with ChatGPT, trying to get the perfect snippet. And then you got to give up because it just doesn't do exactly what you want, or there's too many errors. And I've said to Mark, careful, mate. You are now doing what I was doing 4 months ago. Like my entire Sunday was like gone.
Yeah.
Just me and ChatGPT. And then you end the day and go, what did I achieve? Nothing.
Nothing. I mean, I haven't so much with the code snippet side of things because I don't tend to spend that much time on those kinds of things. But with images now, with ChatGPT 4 using images, that's super cool. That's really useful. And I think Mark was definitely spending most of Sunday working on things because I think he must have messaged me about 40 times. And at least half a dozen of those had snippet files to send over to me.
Yeah, just in reply to Mark, I don't know if Jake did actually nail that one, Mark. I think that was still being worked on, I think. But yeah, I mean, by the way, look, if you want to email me, info@websquadron.co.uk with the snippet, test it out. I'll get a video out. Send it to me before you send it to Paul. Otherwise, he'll beat me to it.
No, you're okay. You're okay. You go for it.
No. We're pretty. And I think it's always good when like we have other influencers joining in and stuff like that, because I think it reminds so many people, without going into what has happened in the last week or so, where sometimes there is like a bit of, influencer like bickering going on. I think it's one of the things where, you know, um, we know so many influencers that we know we can have wonderful chats behind the scenes, and we you know we don't start pointing fingers, right? It's not like Dave Foy, by the way, is going to say to Paul, well, I've got a bricks course, don't you dare do a bricks course. Or Jeffrey and Reno have had elemental courses, then I did one and Paul's going to do one. There's none of this like, mm, it's we all have our own way, our own style, and I feel like that's the great thing, that we're not copycats, we're not just one dimensional, we have opinions, we have ways of teaching. And I like to think we're all relatable. I think we're not monotone, we're not actors, we're not just like, like we're not being placed here to behave a certain way. We bring a bit of life to the party.
Oh, darling, please don't go on. Honestly,
It's
you
like
know
we're
nothing
actors.
about my acting. I'm a thespian, don't you know?
I know. But I think it's really cool that, like, we're able to kind of like bring variety to the way we do things over here. Don't forget to smash the like button. Paraday, help you're okay. Michael, any okay, look, good ticket system.
What kind of ticket are we talking? Are we talking help support tickets, or are we talking event tickets?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a feeling this might be support ticket, but then again, you're right. It could be. I mean, just like whenever one of the most common questions I see on forums is, what's the best appointment booking plugin? And my reply is always the same. What do you want to get out of it? Because everyone goes Amelia, but maybe Amelia is more than what you need. Or maybe, are you booking by the hour, jet appointment, jet booking? It's better to first identify what you want and then do what I do. Go to Bing AI, go to Bard, go to ChatGPT and just say, I need a plugin that does ... What do you recommend? And most of the time, it gives me the exact plugin I end up going to use after checking them out. So don't be surprised if the next time someone posts in the Web Squadron forum, I need a plugin for X, I might just say, did you ask ChatGPT? I do think that Paul could quite easily say use X, but that might be Paul, but not you.
If you want, I mean, ChatGPT is good, but I think if you want a more search-orientated results, in other words, it actually looks for information out there to gain the answers, is look up, easy to say, perplexity.ai, because that is question and answer based, and that is awesome.
Do you have to pay for that? Because I feel like I saw that on a YouTube short once, but I never actually went into it. I've heard it, so it's free to use.
There's a paid version, but I think the paid version, the only difference is you can actually save your results and call them back up again. You don't need it to be able to use it. And the nice thing is, if you use it for like research and that, it'll actually give you the links and the information for where it got the articles from or the answers from. So you've always got that there. And it's great. You kind of combine that. I've done it in the past, like combine that with ChatGPT or something like, what's it called? I can't think of the name of it. Content.ai, I think it is. WP-Content.ai. Combine it with something like that. And what you can do is you can use that to kind of get the answers to the questions you're looking for and check them out to make sure they're valid. And then you can use a tool like ChatGPT to actually write out the content in a more full format. And you could use that to sort of like create tutorials or use it as a basis for videos.
Yeah, so just want to say to Jake, thanks. I've just got that. Well, that's Minoa. I've just got that. I'll test that out later. Believe me, I've got a backlog of things I need to test out. I don't know about what it's like with you, Paul, but I've got like people like they go, oh, can you do a video on X for me? Or I do a lot of videos for Maxime from Element.how, and he's updated one of his codes. So now I've got to make sure I check the code out, do a video. You end up having backlogs. But there's something I want to point out, and I've never, ever spoken about this, ever, ever. And my son is chomping at my ankles because he cannot wait for the day for this to happen. And I keep telling him it's probably going to be a couple of years away. When did you get your YouTube 100,000 subs? When did you get that? How long ago was that?
18 months ago.
18, was it
2 years?
18 months ago?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought yours might have been earlier. And how did it feel when you got that through? How did it even arrive? I want to preempt now what might happen in 2 years to me. Maybe, I don't know. Did it recorded delivery? Did someone come knocking on the door in a limousine? Was
Yeah,
it
we'll
dumped
do
by
the former, not the latter.
Yeah,
It basically comes in a black box with a big YouTube logo on the front of it.
Did you know it was coming though? Did they pre-warn you it's
No.
coming? It just
No.
arrived.
You got to request it because they don't send it automatically. So once you hit that, you've got to request it.
Oh, okay.
And then once you request it, it's like you have no idea how long it'll take or anything. So it kind of came a little bit out of the blue. But it's a kind of surreal feeling to kind of get it. I don't know if you were the same as me. It's kind of like the numbers are lovely. You know, it's nice to see those numbers and see them growing and so on. But it is just a vanity metric. It doesn't really mean anything other than, it looks good seeing.
It does not guarantee anything. I don't want anyone out there that thinks that like there is look, numbers do play a part in how things are monetized and things like that, but please don't start looking at it and going, well, someone who's got 100,000 subscribers must be making 10 times more than someone who's got 10,000. That is not how it works, okay? And believe me, we've all gone through a fair share of things like sinking and going completely in the wrong question. But yeah, it's just my son Raheem, he literally goes, Dad, I think you're going to hit 100,000 by, and I'm like, I don't think your mathematics, I don't think your trajectory is correct. It doesn't work like that. But I must say, even though it is vanity, I can't help but feel like, God damn it. When that thing arrives, I may just record a 1-hour video of me staring at it and licking it and, I don't know, tasting it.
There's a whole different channel. I think there's an ASMR channel. Totally different thing. And maybe you need to sort of start a new channel for that.
Do you know something? I actually did consider starting one of those in January. I literally thought about, why don't I just have another channel where I don't talk. It's just me typing. And I recorded one video and I thought, this is pants. Not that I was in pants. I was fully clothed, but I was like, I can't be bothered doing this.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, to answer Artif's question, we know you're both saying that with Lambos parked in the driveway. We do have Lambos parked in the driveway. They're just both yours.
Do you know something? I'm actually getting to this point where every day I'm like, why do I have a car? Like, I don't know. I mentioned this last week. So I took my car for the service.
Yeah, we were talking about it last week.
And they literally refused to service it. Because like in the last 3 years, I've done a total of just under 2,000 miles in 3 years. And I often go, why have I got this car? I mean, I know you do a lot of drive. I know you go, your tours and stuff, or do you? Or is it only when you do tours? Do you really not drive a lot?
No, I mean, I've had my car 3.5 years. I bought it I picked it up 2 days before the country went into lockdown. And I've done, I think, more than you, but I think I've done around 10,000 miles, 11,000 miles in it. That's it. When you kind of think it's 3.5 years, I mean, okay, you beat me with the 2,000 miles. But I mean, I bought a camper van this year as well. And it's like, that's
yes,
done.
You did.
And I bought like just over 1,000 miles in that,
Wow.
But it's fun. It's fun to have.
No, I know. And I always worry that if I don't have a car, I'll regret it. Now, Friendly Girl, you do make a good point here. When I first looked at Skelemental, and I know Paul's looked at it, I did ask some probing questions about, so how have you built this and what have you got? And they confirmed to me that they were using CrocoBlock for a lot of the interface and the filtering and the way they presented it. But that's kind of it. That's the gist of what they did. So you are right that what if you were to copy and paste? I would say a bit like GPL plugins or third parties, whatever. Do a bit of research, be a bit prudent, check out what you're getting and where you're getting it from. I agree with you. Skelemental could have some malware inserted in there. We don't know about it, but take the time to investigate. But you make a good point. make a good point. Would you, how many times have we, look, 15 years ago, I did a search for mortgage calculator. Someone created an Excel file. I downloaded it so I could start popping in my numbers and work out what my budget planning would be for the next 15 years. That Excel file could have been loaded with all sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. So, yeah, there is a little bit of risk, but I would say take the time to do a bit of research with what you're using and where you're getting it from. I noticed RT still goes on about the Lambo pink for some reason. If it was neon pink and more of a neon reddish pink, actually more red than neon. In fact, forget the pink color. Parody question: would you start a YouTube channel? Yeah. I don't think. Okay, look. I didn't start the Web Squadron channel until 2021. And I am now where I am. I could easily have gone and said, well, Paul's already out there, and Reno's out there, and Ferdy's out there, and Dave had stuff out there, and Daryl's out there. There's loads of people doing Elementor. I better not do it. But one day, we will disappear. One day, some of us won't be recording videos. One day, we'll be like, oh, forget it, we'll do something else now, kind of thing. Things change and happen. And at the same time, if you think you can explain things your way, do it. I mean, like I do a 1-hour video on building an Elementor website. You could easily get the same kind of steps probably from Paul's video. So why did I do mine? I have my way of doing it. That's just the way it is. So I would say never let the fact that someone else does it stop you. You could do a cookery website. You could do a yoga website. I mean, I'll tell you now, if you are good at yoga or fitness or beauty products, I'm not trying to say you got to be a female, but if you do anything like that, you will make it on YouTube a lot quicker. Because we do WordPress and stuff like that, we've got to work hard. We've got to get videos out there. We've got to form a brand, a persona. We've got to hopefully get people to want to watch us and all of that. But if you can build a following, and don't fake it, don't just do what you do well. And if you look at the videos I put out when we first started in my garden office, the lighting, the sound, everything was tragic. The quality of the camera, awful. Go back to Paul's earliest videos. In fact, go right back to our really early videos. We don't have a lot of views on them. The quality's not there. Go and look at Jeffrey's. Go and look at all of them. Even Ferdy, all of them. And over time, we get better. We improve. We invest in stuff. Yeah? Sorry, I gave a really long answer there. Go on, Paul, you chip in.
No, I think the most important sort of thing to say there, first of all, is why are you creating a YouTube channel in the first place?
Yeah.
If you're thinking about doing it, why? Why do you want to do it? Because if it's for the money and the fame, it's a very, very long road before you start to make a single penny. But I mean, from my point of view, it's pretty different from Imran's because, I mean, our backgrounds are very, very different. I mean, my background was I spent 10 years teaching adult IT. So as part of that, I did Photoshop and digital photography and web design and, all those kinds of things. And then I went on, actually became a partner in a business, set up my own design company. And I've kind of like walked both sides of it. But the nice thing was it gave me the ability to go back and combine those two passions and start creating videos. And like Imran says, I mean, for the first probably couple of hundred videos of mine, they were faceless videos. They were literally just screen capture with me talking on the top of it. So it took a long time before I felt comfortable to even stick my face in my videos. So there's a lot of things. And I think, as Imran said, it's like you listen to the way we talk, even with the faceless videos right back at the beginning. They're very different in the way that you speak and the way that you talk about things and the way that you sort of project yourself, even if you don't see the person, to where we are now. And those are all things that come with time, with getting, should we say, giving less of a damn about being in front of the camera and just being more yourself. And I think that's where live streams like this is where you really do get more of a feel for what the people are actually like, because there's no editing going on. We can't just go, oh, damn, I'll just cut that little bit of thing out there and change it to this. It's just this is warts and all. This is us answering questions. We don't have the answers to everything. So it's, first of all, like I say, why do you want to do it? If it's for the right reasons, as in you want to share the knowledge and the skills that you have developed and you want to push yourself forward to learn more, go for it. Absolutely go for it. If it's just because you think it's going to be cool and fun and, you sort of want to make some money, or you want to sort of promote your business via it, people will see through it very, very quickly, and you'll struggle with cheeky twat, Mark, and you'll struggle to gain traction and audience with that. So,
I mean, what I'll say to that also is that there's too many videos on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Insta where they say, once you learn how to use ChatGPT or Canva or whatever, you're going to make $10,000 a month. Once you start to do videos on YouTube, why don't you find a 1-hour video, put it through Opus or something and generate 1-minute clips, and then you just stick them on and you're going to make tons and tons of money. Please don't fall for that, okay? You've got to carve out the time, and you will find your voice. You will find your way of presenting, and you look at the feedback you get as well. What do people say? You either accept it, you compromise, or you just do your own thing. But I completely agree with Paul. Why do you want to do it? And it's very much like when someone says they want a website, and often I ask them is like, why do you need a website? What are you trying to aim for? But you got to stick at it. Because I know quite a lot of people who entered like the Elementor WordPress YouTube videos, and they only did a video like every 2 weeks. And then they would often say to me, but I'm really struggling to get subs. I'm really struggling to get views. And I would often say, you've got to be out there. You've got to, don't do a video every day. I know I'm guilty of that. Okay. I'm very guilty of I think I put out 3 videos or 4 on Monday, mainly because of Black Friday. Okay. That was it. I apologize. It was because I had to get Black Friday stuff out yesterday, but, you do have to keep yourself out there. Otherwise you just become a memory. And also, and I'll stop talking here at this bit, is that if you only come on now and again, people might start to go, well, why should I subscribe to him? He's only here now and again, but they kind of know that we're always going to be putting out hopefully useful information. So we're giving you we're almost saying, if you subscribe to us, we will hopefully give something back out to you. We're not just going to be a sub who posts now and again kind of thing.
Yeah, if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't put, you can't, if you don't show up regularly, why would anybody else show up to watch you regularly? Do you know what I mean? I do have to say, before we move on to anything else, I've got to call out Darren Moore for saying Annual Reaper YouTube channel. Yep, I knew someone would bring that one up. So let's just say no more.
Oh yeah, I actually haven't looked at that. Is that music only?
Yes, yep. If you do search for Reaper TV,
that's it. Reaper TV, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now Burgett says, what is the best way to share the file with you? What's that in relation to? Is that in relation to something? Email me if you want, info@websquadron.co.uk, and I'll malware check it before I open it up. Right, I am going to end the live chat in about 1.5 minutes, mainly because I'm now hitting my treadmill timeline where I should be on there, try and get an 1.5 hours in while I'd still do some work. And then I go pick up it's like an addiction.
The hamster rears its ugly head one more time.
I know. It's literally like, if I know I have not hit certain targets, when I go to pick my son up, I'm like, I'm like in a right mood, like I'm speed walking down the pavement to go and pick him up. Not that I do that out in public, by the way, kind of thing. But yeah, please do check out some of the Black Fridays stuff that, Paul's put out a couple of videos. I've put some out as well. There are some cracking deals there. And I'm not saying that because I want you to click for affiliates or anything. Seriously, there are some really good, juicy deals out there right now. And you miss out, so please do have a look. Is there any one deal though, not related to, I'm going to put Paul on the spot now, not related to your products that you feel like, wow, that is brilliant? Like, I mean, you've got quite a few though, because you did 2 videos and you had loads in there. But was there any one deal that made you go, I was not expecting that?
Sadly, not this year. No, I mean, like I say, there's a good deal on the Crocker Block suite. That's very good.
Yeah.
Like I say, and the fact that they're actually including that with a lifetime deal, I think is pretty impressive. And Jake Hope says now there's 40% off the Affinity suite as well, which
Yeah.
I would say if you haven't already got that, I would snap that up big time,
Yeah.
because it's just an awesome suite of tools. And the fact that that 40% off gets you all of the software and the iPad versions if you use those as well, which I think is pretty impressive. But no, I
Absolutely.
can't say there is. I can't say there's been one deal that's really impressed me massively.
Yeah. Well, the only deal I'll say that some of you might want to make sure you consider is Elemental Pro before the price goes up on December the 4th. But enough said about that, because I feel like no, I like no matter how you try and look at it, I feel like you're opening a can of worms with that one at the moment.
Yeah.
Paul, I'm going to end right now in a moment, but you said you got a few videos coming out tomorrow. So do you want to do a quick plug again to remind people what that's about? A snippet, I believe.
There's a snippet involved in it, yes, which will be included. It's basically, like I said earlier on, I don't like the WordPress dashboard. And I think if you're handing that off to clients, especially paying clients, it's not a very nice place to access, and you need to know where you're going. So I've got a video coming out showing you how easy it is to create a fully custom dashboard, custom login. You can link that up through dynamic content for your help files and things like that. Let's just say it'll make it much, much easier to create something customized. It does involve a couple of plugins. Well, one to be honest, but I think it's definitely worth investing in it if you want to do something like this for yourself or for your clients. That's all I'm going to say.
Excellent. I think you're giving us more than enough there, but I think that kind of like, we'll all be looking forward to that. And I definitely will enjoy watching that while I'm sweating. Right. I'm going to say thanks, Paul. Or Mark, while he's in bed. I mean, all the visualizations in my mind now are like, right, let's not think any more about that. Okay. All right, I'm going to say thanks, Paul, for joining us on. This has been a really good live chat. I will be live tomorrow, probably same time. Catch you all later. I'm off to go and crack on with some work now. See you all soon. Bye.